it for a little bit because again, I have to wake up between 4:30 and 5.
Yeah.
So,
All right then, guys. Thank you so much, man. Thank you guys for coming out once again. I appreciate you. I really do. And
We back. We back. We're gonna let the room fill up a little bit before we get started. Bird flock, what's good with you? How your day going? And here we're gonna do our top nine at nine, a running back edition. I'm gonna give you um my top nine running backs. And just if you didn't see the what I had in the community, I put if somebody could list my top nine in the same order that I do, I have two Sip the Tally shirts here with me. Well, I'm sorry, I have four. I have two larges and two extra larges. So if you look on the community tab on my page and you can list those top nine in the same order that I'm gonna give them to you in the next 20 minutes or so, you got if you can fit a large or extra large, you got a free shirt coming your way. So if you want to go ahead and get your list together and do that, you can send it through Twitter or you can send it through the community tab. Either way, I'll tell you if you get it right before the live stream's over or before I start. I'll send you those shirts, but I got two large, I got two extra larges. So if you get those right and you want to do that, we'll be starting here in the next minute or so. So any questions y'all want to? I know we was talking a lot about receivers in on the Cover Six podcast. So if y'all want some receiver questions before we start, shoot them. Go ahead and shoot them if you want the receiver question before we start. I want a few more people to fill up in here. And smash that like button. Make sure you do that. Appreciate it, Marcus. Likes are what we need. Likes are what we thrive on. We love likes. Everybody hear me good? We hear me good in here? Just make sure we're good. Just checking, just checking, just checking. Okay, sounds good. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. About 30 more seconds and we gonna roll this thing. We're gonna roll it. Get my chat box set up where I can see it. There we go. All right, all right, all right. Well, let's run it. But if you look on the screen, you can see the first guy I have up here. You see his stats. Anybody care to guess who those stats belong to? As a junior, rushed for 1,018 yards, 6.4 carries, 6.4 yards a carry, 7 TDs, 5 catches, 40 yards, 7 rushing TDs. First guy on my list, the number 9 guy on my list is. Let's run it. Appreciate it, Sam. Appreciate it. Baby Moss ain't gonna be in this one. This one's about running backs. This is number 9 on my list. Elijah Holyfield. Elijah Holyfield. Now everybody's mad at Elijah because he ran that 4.8, 4.8, 4.7, 40. And just think about it. He was a track guy in high school and he bulked up big time in college. And him running that 4.7, 4.8 does not reflect on the burst I saw when I watched him on film. And again, I did a film earlier on Elijah Holyfield, and he showed burst in that film. He showed the ability to get to the edge. He showed the ability to run between the tackles. And he didn't have to carry the load like all the time. So he has somewhat fresh legs. Didn't have a lot of carries. Was able to split time with Swift, I think it's the guy name. And so, he got fresh legs, and I still think he's going to be a pretty good back in the league, even though he ran that 4.7, 4.8, 40. That didn't determine his burst. That being able to hit the hole and get through the hole, that's something he has. And 4.8 is not going to determine his worth. I still think he's going to be a good back. Elijah Holyfield is my number 9 running back in this draft. All right, let's move on to number 2. Oh, not number 2, number 8. I hear the stats for the next guy. Catch Pokemons. I'm gonna give you a name and you look this name up when we finish. Kylan Hill for next year's running back class. Look that name up. Kylan Hill. KYLIN HILL, running back from Mississippi State. Make sure you look that up. But number 8, these are his stats. As a freshman, rushed for 1,000 yards. Sophomore kind of slid down a little bit and only rushed for 626 yards, and then pushed it back up to just short of 1,000 yards this year as a junior. Had 5 touchdowns, 21 catches, 112 yards, and 1 touchdown as a receiver. Number 8 on the list is Mike Weber. Mike Weber runs the inside zone really, really, really good. If he can get to a team that's a zone scheme, outside inside zone type scheme, he will flourish. He will flourish. If not, he's probably gonna be a third down back for some teams. He's not a bigger guy, but he runs inside and outside very well because of the scheme that Ohio State ran, and they had so many weapons. The Ohio State team was a track team. They had so many weapons, and all of them could run. And they was able to spread the field like from sideline to sideline. He had a ton of running lanes, running the inside zone, running the outside zone, and was able to make guys miss and still, be productive with all those other weapons they had. So number 8 is Mike Weber, Ohio State. Popping down to number 7. All right, stat line for number 7. As a freshman, only had 184 yards. As a sophomore, only 7 more yards, 191. Jumped up and had a huge junior campaign. 1,200 yards, 9 TDs, and had 24 catches for 139 yards. Who's number 7 on the list, guys? Who you think's number 7? I don't know. We're finna see in a second. There it is. Miles Sanders. Cravens and Raven, you were right. Miles is the best juke guy in this class, if that makes sense. He's the guy that has the most wiggle in this running back draft class. He's the guy that can hit you with the circle button. He can hit you with the speed burst. He can hit you with the hurdle. He can hit you with all those things that Saquon had. He learned from Saquon. So he did a good job of picking Saquon's brain and kind of mimicking Saquon's game. He's just not as big, not as fast as Saquon, but he's still a quality back. Penn State had a few struggles this year, but this guy was the man, and he came in and did what he had to do. Yeah, he definitely can put you in a spin cycle, Craven. He got that spin cycle down pat. All right, let's move on to number 6. Stat line for number 6. As a freshman, 563 yards. Then back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons as a sophomore and a junior. 1,146 yards as a sophomore. 1,216 yards as a junior. 4.7 yards per carry and 13 TDs. Next on the list. Who we got for the next guy? Any guesses? Any guesses? Any guesses? Want to throw them out there. Got one guess for Montgomery. Montgomery again. Gaskins. Let's roll it. David Montgomery. David Montgomery is solid. I don't even know any other word to describe his skill set. It's just solid. He's fast enough. He's strong enough. Let me go back and say this before I go on. Everybody on my list has vision. Everybody on my list has burst. Everybody on my list is productive. So all those running back traits that I could just say about everybody anytime you do a film on, all 9 of these guys have them. What separated my listing is, first I looked at what conference they played in and the teams they played, and I looked at the production. So if you didn't play in the Big 12 or the SEC, you had to have a ton of yards. Had to. And if you didn't play in one of those two conferences, because those were the 2 better defensive conferences, you had to have a ton of yards. And so, what's up, Sonny? You had to have a ton of yards. So if you played in the SEC or the Big 12 and you still, not the Big 12, the Big 10, and you produced, you kind of got a little bump in my rankings. Now, if you played in another conference, you had to have some video game stats for me to put you on this list. But back to David Montgomery. David ran, I think he ran a 4.6 at the combine. He had an okay, like meh. That's a good word. He had a meh 40. But David does a lot. I think he was the number one running back before the season started. Like, you know, all the draft experts say he was the number one running back coming into it. Kind of slipped a little bit, but he didn't have to have the production that he had the year before because they found some other weapons to work with and whatnot and things like that. But David Montgomery is a solid pick, and I think he's he's gonna do somebody good in this league. He's gonna be a good third down back, and then eventually take over as a guy that can play all three downs for somebody. Let's go to number 5. Stat line for number 5 as a freshman, just under 500 yards. Sophomore, 1,150 yards. And then, boom, bust almost a 2,000 yard season as a junior. 1,909 yards, 22 TDs, 19 catches for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. Who's the next guy on this list? We got Justice Hill. We got Harris. We got Benny. Cravens and Ravens and Henderson, Darrell Henderson. Let's see who it is. Darrell Henderson, Mississippi guy. He had a outrageous junior campaign. Every time you turned on highlights from Henderson, he was breaking a 30, 40, 50-yard run. And then Memphis plays that up-tempo type of game, so he was getting carries out the wazoo. A lot of the carries he got were inside and outside zone. And then, you know, they hit him with some counter and stuff like that. But him and the other running back he had, them guys had a ton of yards. Memphis may have 2 running backs drafted, but Darrell is definitely the better of the 2. And like I say, he doesn't play in one of those big 2 conferences I talked about, but he put up almost 2,000 yards. And that's why he's up there. And, you know, if we could get him in the second or third round, I'd be great about it. But we got to get a second round pick first. I just know we won't get him in the first. But still, we'll move on to draft once I run through this 9 for 9. Because I know we're going to bounce all over the place with receivers, running backs, O-linemen, and all that. So let's go to number 4. Stat line for number 4. Thunder, lightning. I feel you. Definitely can see that. This guy, look at that. 3,000 yard seasons. As a freshman, 1,091 yards. Sophomore, 1,300 yards. Junior, 1,500, well, almost 1,500 yards. Production grew every year. 5 yards a carry, 17 catches, no TDs in the catches, but that 5 yards a carry was consistent throughout his college career. Who's number 4? 1,000 yards every year. That's impressive. Everybody saying Benny Snell on this one? Right, you are. I saw it was a play. I can't remember exactly who it was against, but he got the handoff and he crept to the hole, and right before he got to it, it opened up, and he like a missile going through there. He ran tough, and he was a big reason why they shocked Florida, Mississippi State, and some other teams. And you know, they play a little defense too. But this guy was consistent all 3 years at Kentucky. And keeping the fact they were at the bottom of the league, so they were playing probably one of the hardest schedules in the country. Playing the Alabamas, the LSUs, the Auburns, the Floridas, all those guys. And this cat put up 1,000 yards every year, even as a freshman. He had 1,000 yards. To do that in the 3,000 yard season in the SEC, that's big time. That is big time. And that's why Benny Snell is number 4 on my list. Move on to the next guy. All right. This guy's a senior. Ain't very many seniors in this draft, so you probably know who this is. As a freshman, didn't do much. As a sophomore, bust 1,000 yards. As a junior, bust 1,000 yards exactly. As a senior, ran for 876 yards. And obviously, you know, most of y'all know who this is because ain't but one top senior in the draft. Drum roll. Everybody besides Keyshawn. Everybody besides Keyshawn. Let's go with it. Damon Harris. Damon Harris. It's crazy the way this guy ran the ball, and it's hard to make a comparison between him and the other guy. This because Bama's O-line is so good. But in order to see how good these backs are, you have to notice the particulars they have. Like his feet, for his size and strength, is amazing. You don't see guys with feet like this and be able to cut back and bend plays backwards and jump from A gap to B gap, or from front side A to back side A, and then still burst like that. His acceleration is like no other. Now, he don't have the great top end speed, but he has great burst. He hits the hole hard, and he's hard to tackle. It's rarely that you see an arm tackle on this guy, but it's rare that you see an arm tackle on any Alabama guy. So they do in the weight room. They get after it. They get after it big time. And with Damon Harris, Jacobs, and Najee, none of those guys you ever saw get arm tackle. So let's move on to number 2. All right, number 2. As a freshman, he had 1,000 yards. As a sophomore, he dropped down to 800 yards. And as a junior, he went up to 1,700 yards, almost 1,800 yards. Now, before I get this out, and most of y'all probably know who this is, this guy was almost number 1 on my list. He was almost number 1 on my list. While I was going back and forth on changing this, the past hour or two, but this guy was almost number 1 because he did everything number 3 can do. He did everything number 1 can do with a lesser O-line. And this is 1,700 SEC yards. 1,700 SEC yards. I really, really like this dude. Really, 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 really like this dude. He could be the number 1 guy in the draft for me. The number 1 running back in the draft for me. Could be. I don't know if I got a 1A and 1B, but this dude right here is awesome. He runs between the tackles. He runs outside zone well. He runs stretch well. He runs the power when they ran a little bit, and it's just crazy. How you spell his name? I got it up there. That may be right. That may be wrong. But I was having problems. I saw it spelled 2 different ways. Hopefully I got it right. But this dude can do it all at the running back position, and he can block. I forgot to mention that about the Alabama guy, about Damon Harris too. He can block also. One of the reasons that some of those guys fell back, the smaller guys, as far as blocking in the NFL system, you got to be able to block. And this Travion can get it all kinds of ways. Travion is running back 1B, but number 2 on this list because I had to put him out here. Let's move on to number 1, which pretty much everybody should know who number 1 is now. Stats for my number 1 guy. Look at that. Very little production. Not a lot of production at all. A little over 500 yards as a freshman. Only 300 yards as a sophomore. Only 600 yards as a junior. But those are 600 of the most explosive yards I've ever seen in my life. 600 of the most explosive yards I've ever seen in my life. Every time he touched the ball, he looked to destroy anybody trying to tackle him. Everybody. Every time he touched the ball, he's trying to destroy anybody trying to tackle him. And I think it was the Clemson game, or maybe one of the SEC championships game. He caught a little screen pass, and there was one guy out there to tackle him, and he basically ran through the guy's soul. Ran through his soul. And the reason he's up on here because he's a good blocker. See it's on film him blocking. Obviously, he can run any kind of he can run inside zone, outside zone, power. You can line him up in the eye. You can line him up beside a quarterback in the shotgun. He can do everything you need right now. Everything you need right now. He can do it all. And Jacobs, he got the speed to do it. I know he ran a 4.6 today but he's still kind of hurt. But once he get that ball in his hand, it's lights out. This dude can do it all. He can do it all. But my number one guy is Josh Jacobs, and I know it was 9-9, but I didn't want to step on Joe's and Sonny's toes, so I waited till it was over with. And let's get in the chat box a little bit, and I can kind of answer some of you guys' questions about what I got up there. So I see catch Pokemons, no Rodney Anderson. Let me explain that. I wanted to put Rodney up here. I really did, but I'm not sure how healthy he's going to be after his surgery. I really want to put Rodney on here, and I almost slid him in there at 9, but I'm not sure about how healthy he is going to be after his surgery. Let's see what else I got up here. Love Travion. See if my little Excel document I had, maybe I can show that to y'all. See if this works. All right, can you see that? Let's see if I can move it to where you guys can see it. All right, check this out. This is some of the guys I had. I had more up here, but I just left these up here just for purposes. If you look at this, Darrell Henderson had your most yards out of this group that I picked up. And I mean, it was like 20 guys on here, but I just started deleting them, and I stopped. And I said, maybe I'll show this. Darrell Henderson was your leading touchdown guy. He was also your leading yards per carry guy. And Devin Singletary had 22 touchdowns also. Travion was second in yards, second in touchdowns, second in yards per carry. First in receptions, and then you jump over here to some of the combine stuff. Travion measured well along with the others, but the reason Darrell, even though he ranked higher than some of these other guys, he played in the Conference USA, so that's why I had to bump him down. Travion with those 1,700 yards in the SEC, that's huge to me. That's huge to me. Now Josh Jacobs and what was that? Josh Jacobs and Damon Harris. I mean, they split carries with another big time back. So that's why them guys don't have numbers. But they're all fresh, and you love to have them on your team because they weren't worn down backs. Singletary, I just couldn't put him up there based off that Conference USA number. I just couldn't do it. He didn't do it for me. Not saying he's a bad back, but Singletary just didn't do it for me. Justice Hill, the big time offensive, explosive Big 12, and you didn't have 1,000 yards. I don't know if he missed any games or not, but that number kind of pulled him down for me. And then when I looked at him, he was quote unquote meh to me. I mean, he can fly though. Don't get it twisted. He can fly. Out of the guys I left up here, he's the fastest one. But still, you got to be able, to have the intangibles. You got to be able to block. You got to be able to do other things. So that's why Justice Hill wasn't up there. But that's my 9-9 guys. So let's get in the chat box and I think Hill is a gadget player. He'll be your third down back. Be a guy that could, return kicks for you. And some of these guys don't have value because I forgot to mention Josh Jacobs got value because he returned kicks also. I don't agree with the too many carries argument. How many running backs have success on the second? Not many, Craven. You're right. Not many have success. The average life of an NFL running back is 3 years. So you're right. A lot of them don't have success on the second contract. If they get to that second contract, it's a blessing for them. If they get to the third, it's even greater. Because I don't know if my favorite running back's gonna get to a third contract, and that's Gurley with those knees. But a lot of guys don't get to that second contract. But I mean, if you don't agree, let's give me who you think, and we can talk about it and go. That's what football for. We here to debate, and you see my thoughts and I see yours, and we go from there. So I got time. I don't know if you got it, but I got it. Spring break, baby. Hill is a graduate player. We got that. Frank Gore. Yeah. Frank is still going. Frank's a unicorn though. Frank's a unicorn. I don't understand how Frank's doing it in his mid-30s, I think. LJ Scott. LJ Scott's from Michigan State, correct? I think he's the big he's a bruiser. I think he needs to have a fullback in front of him. He has the. I don't know if he Le'Veon reincarnated. He needs a lead blocker from what I see right now. He needs a guy that he's a power and a counter type runner. I don't think he's an inside zone, outside zone runner. He is patient. I give you that. He's patient. He takes his time and sometimes takes his time too long and lets backside people run him down. But he He just not in that my top 9. He not saying he's gonna be a bad back, because it's some good running backs in that I didn't put up there. So it's about this class is about 15 guys deep. I even like Scarlett from Florida. I like him too. His production just didn't match what I saw, on tape in front of combine. What other running backs they got in this draft that's pretty good that I missed? Obviously, Justice Hill. He's a burner. He can fly. He can go. The other running back from Memphis, Tony, I forget his name. He's pretty good. He's taller than Henderson, and they kind of use him in the slot and stuff too. And Singletary, yeah, Singletary shifted, but I weighed his schedule versus these other guys. That's what hurt Singletary in my eyes. Singletary was I think about halfway through the season he was one of the top running backs, like projected. But I just weighed his production in the Conference USA. I feel like he should have, at least had 15 to 1,800 yards in the Conference USA. But it is what it is. You can only get 9 in the list. And I'll play this back for somebody that may have just joining us so they can see it. I won't talk about it while they play this time. I'm going to just play it back and let them get caught up on it. Now I'll just say the names as they go through. Keep showing your questions, and I'll answer them as they pop up. 9's Elijah Holyfield. Miles pretty shifted too, Cravens and Raven. I think Miles from Penn State is pretty shifty. Man, Josh Hoffman. Hold on, I gotta stop this. Josh, what do you want to talk about? Whatever it is you want to talk about, we can talk about it right now. You the GOAT. Whatever it is you want to talk about, we can talk about it. I can stop this here. I can fast forward it. You are the man. I appreciate it. Big time. Never know. And you've been supporting me from the jump, so I appreciate it. And anytime anybody you want to see film on, hit it. Just tell me who it is. I go get it. Go get it done. I appreciate it, man. You just don't know how much I appreciate it. I'm gonna let this run on through. Miles was 7. Six with David Montgomery. Five, Darrell Henderson. Had to show a little love to my Mississippi guys too. He was a beast in high school, boy, big time. Benny Snell really impressed me with those 3,000-yard seasons in the SEC. Damon Harris didn't have the numbers, but he had a split time with 2 other NFL running backs. Travion Williams is probably my 1B. And then the beast, the man-child. Not very much production. Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs is the guy. Henderson needs to be higher. Marlon, why do you think Henderson needs to be higher? Let me slide back to Henderson. I will while we talk about it. Give me a quick point or two why you think Henderson needs to be higher. I'm gonna put his stats up here too while we talk about it. Where he at? Where's Marlon? Marlon still here? There we go. Pat, that's Parth. That's what I got. I make sure I say that right. Parth. Henderson vision is spotty. Henderson, his vision is spotty. That could be accurate, but they ran a lot of inside and outside zone and stretch at Memphis. So if any of the linebackers overflow or overplayed, or they happen to get a guy turned, and all he needed was just to see green and burst. And that's it. Marlon, half of Memphis offense ran through. And I agree it was. It was. Him and he was the guy. I'm gonna say more than half, Marlon. More than half of the offense was ran through him. More. The title of the chat should be top 9 at 9. Should be. I think it was up there. Let me check it. Where'd it go? Huh. I don't know where it's at now, but I'll fix it in a little bit. Should be top 9 at 9 though. That's the title. But back to Memphis. Okay, Memphis ran a lot of offense through him. Like I said, I think they ran more than half of the offense through him. It's just, it is what it is. It's, because he played in the Conference USA. Could he have put up 2,000 yards in the SEC, Marlon? Could he have done that? That's why he's further down on my list. And keep in mind, I'm not hating on Darryl, because like I said, he's a Mississippi guy. I'm a Mississippi guy. I would love to have him up there, top 2 or 3, but because he didn't do that, had that type of production in the SEC, that's why I moved him down. And I know you can only play who on the schedule, but in this subjective field we in, that's where we at. Now, if you did a top 9, maybe he'd be higher than yours. I ain't hating on him at all. And if you put him at number 1 or 2, I wouldn't be mad at it. Wouldn't be mad at it at all. Production is production. It is. It is. But did he have to deal with a Quentin Williams? Did he have to deal with a Josh Allen? Did he have to deal with any of those guys? None whatsoever. Nah. But I kind of hope I like Delance Turner. Josh, let me tell you this story about Delance Turner. Delance Turner went to college at a school I got one of my degrees from. And actually, I was on campus yesterday, and my son toured that same school. Little old Alcorn State University. Go Braves. So I was on the campus of Alcorn yesterday, where Delance played his college ball at. And I was really hoping Delance stayed healthy this year, especially when Alex got hurt and he got a little PT or whatever. I was really hoping he stayed, because he had a good preseason. But I hope Delance gets healthy and can some kind of way get in the rotation. It's going to be tough, though, especially if we draft a running back. It's going to be tough. Where would you rank Bryce Love? Bryce Love would have been on this list had he been healthy. No doubt. No doubt at all. Bryce Love would have been on this list had he been healthy. The Eagles want Jacobs. I'm sure. The Eagles probably want Henderson. Henderson fits the Eagles more than Jacobs, in my opinion. But Jacobs could probably play any style, but I think Henderson fits what the Eagles like to do with all those RPOs and whatnot. Craven, yeah, I've watched most of Edgar Allen's videos. Edgar has that quiet demeanor about him. He's not as animated as me sometimes, so I like most of his videos. It's a good opposite to kind of what I do, but he has great information in him, has great film breakdown, great football knowledge. So we ever talking about had to deal with the spotty O-line. Who had the spotty O-line? Bryce Love, or is that who we talking about? Cravens and Raven. Edgar goes in great detail for every video. Yeah, he does. You like Vach? Vach played for me, catch Pokemons. Vach played center for me back in high school. So I kind of taught him what he knows, and he took it and ran with it. So Vach played center for me in high school. I was offensive coordinator. He was the center. So, yeah, I know him. When we were talking about Singletary did have spotty O-line. He did. Yeah, me and Vach grew up on this. We're years apart in age, but we grew up on the same street, same hometown. Let's see what else. We love to see you and Edgar Allen do a chat together. That would be good. That would. What about Bryce Love? I said Bryce Love would have made the list had he been healthy. Iowa State running back Montgomery. I think Montgomery's on the list. He made it. Let's see, what number is Montgomery. Let me go back. Montgomery is number 6 on my list. That's where he is. He's number 6. Slide this on back. There he is. And there are his stats. Montgomery made it number 6. So anybody that didn't see it, I'll definitely run through it again when kind of toward the end when we get ready to get out of here. But any other questions y'all want to go out there? Because we don't have to stay on running back. A lot of people wanted to talk about my favorite sleeper running backs in the draft. Justice Hill. I like Justice Hill, even though he's not in my top 9. I really over the past couple of days, I really have a fun liking of Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders is not a Saquon clone, but he is Saquon like, just on a different level, if that makes sense. If Saquon's a 10, Miles Sanders is Saquon, but at like a 6, if that makes sense. And obviously, Trayvon's not a sleeper anymore to me. Trayvon is arguably the best back in this draft. Arguably, in my eyes. And I like Scarlett. I think I mentioned it earlier. I like Scarlett from Florida also. Middle linebacker to replace Mosley. The immediate replacement for Mosley right now, in my eyes, is Peanut. Peanut and Kenny Young. I think those two guys are, gonna have to step up, and hopefully we'll have a third guy to come in and kind of be like a rotational guy, because we're gonna need somebody. I want to talk about how serious is our need at pass rush with the secondary looking so potentially good. I'm worried it'll be a waste not to have a good pass rusher. All right, we can talk about that. Well, we got Judon. We still have Brandon Williams, and we still have Michael Pierce. So now we need another edge guy, and that's where the guys that didn't play last year that were hurt, I think Tim and I forget who the other guy was, they're going to have to step up. And that's if we don't sign Houston. If Houston the longer Houston waits to get signed, the more his price is going to go down, and then he might end up falling into a price range that we can Bowser, that's him, a price range that we can afford. So if Houston stays out there on the market and don't nobody sign him, he may fall into a price range for us. But I really hope Tim Williams and Bowser get after it. I really hope Tim Williams and Bowser get after it. And then those two guys will help it, because our backfield is so good. We got who we got at corner? We got Jimmy, we got Marlon, we got Earl now, we got Tony Jefferson, we got Everett, we got slot corner Young. We got enough in the back end to have a okay pass rush and then go from there. Because our linebackers gonna blitz too. So I ain't really worried about pressure. I think we can get pressure because Judon didn't have a lot of sacks, but you gotta remember all those guys split time. They never really played consistently. They split time with Suggs. They split time with Za'Darius. Judon never was a full-time guy. So now he gonna step in and be a full-time guy, and hopefully those young guys come up. Hopefully, if they don't, then that's when we probably will be in a problem, because it's no matter how good your corners and your safeties are, if they have too much time back there, receivers are gonna get open. But we gotta address it either through Houston, or in that third or fourth round we're gonna have to get edge guys. We have to get edge guys somewhere. If we didn't need an old lineman so bad, we could probably go edge earlier too. But we gotta have a left guard, gotta have a receiver. We gotta have those two. Then we can start looking at edges and other guys. And I was playing around on the Draft Network today, doing a mock draft, and I went receiver first round, and I went third round. I went O-line, I think. But some kind of way I ended up with Hakeem Butler and what's my little fast receiver from Massachusetts. I ended up with both of those guys, and I ended up with Pierce Bacher from Alabama, and I ended up with a linebacker from Clemson. I had had a safety from Miami. I don't remember the names, but I had a fairly good draft, I thought. Isabella is who I'm talking about, yeah. But that draft network thing is fun. Joe Nubo did a one live, I think Sunday, and Sunday wasn't there. I was gonna do mine live, but when he started, I went on and let him have it. And it was fun to watch him, and it's fun to do. So if you guys have time, the Draft Network, they have a mock draft thing where you can play. You can be one team, or you can be all 32 teams. It's really fun, and you mess around and you can spend an hour or two just playing around with that. And it's a lot easier to do on the computer too. So I wouldn't suggest you doing it on your phone. It's a lot easier to do it on the computer. Maybe when you're at work and you're supposed to be working and you're not, like some of us sometimes. But it's real fun. What I would love to do with that is to find me some guys that support other teams. like some Cowboy fans, some Ravens fans, some other teams, and do it live with them, and so they can pick their own guys. Then we can pick our own guys. That'd probably be fun also. But it's hard pressed to find guys that like the draft like we do and have that knowledge and then just get in there and be randomly picking people. Who I got going number one? Overall, Marlon, is that what you mean? Who I have going number one overall? Lindstrom was gone. I like Lindstrom though. Lindstrom was the only guy that blocked Gerald Willis from Miami, and I like Lindstrom. Overall, or what? Let me see if I can put this message in here real quick. Oh, what happened? Hit the wrong button. There we go. I'm back. Sorry. So waiting on Marlon to tell me number one overall or number one to the Ravens or who we talking about? He's got Quinn as top talent, I believe. Doesn't mean he's going to be a first pick. Yeah, I think it depends. I think that pick gonna get traded. Honestly, I think Oakland may go get Kyler. I really think Oakland gonna get Kyler. I hope we trade back too. This is my ideal situation. We get to 22, and DK is still on the board, and Hollywood's still on the board, and so we get to 22 with those guys still sitting there and trade back, and hopefully get 2 twos. And hopefully we can get, my guy, Hakeem Butler. Y'all know my guy. When I say that name, you got to put the train emojis in there. I don't want DK. That's what I'm getting at, Marcus. I don't want DK. I hope when we get to 22, DK and Hollywood still there. So we can trade back. Let other teams pick up Hollywood and DK. And we can get Hakeem in the second round. Then we can turn around and get us a O-line guy or a edge guy in the second round. But we definitely got to have a wide receiver. And if we get 2 second-round picks, we get an O-line guy and a receiver in the second round, and that'd be all love for me right there. DaCosta will win that day for me. Would you take Jawan Taylor if he was there at 22? If Jawan could play tackle, yes. I don't know. I did a film on Jawan too, and I think Jawan could play guard, yes. I don't know if he's a guard type body because he got long arms and maybe to work in that tight spot. I don't know how well he made to do that. Now I take Jonah at 22 if he's there, even though I know he's not. I definitely take Jonah. Or Ford and Butler being at 22, who do you take? Ford. I don't think Cody will get that far, but if he's there at 22, you can't pass up on him because he fits the need for us. He can play either guard position. And if one of our tackles got hurt, probably jump out there and play tackle also. I bet the Ravens stay with Sakura. They might. It depends on how the talent folds in this draft. And if we can get into that second round. I wouldn't pick a inside lineman later on just to pick one. Because then you got to cultivate a rookie and still trying to cultivate Sakura. So I would just stick with Sakura and, I don't know, Josh, if you saw the video I did during the season, at the time, Sakura wasn't the problem. He was handling his business. Now, it might look bad when when the left guard they supposed to be double teaming and things like that. But for the most part, he was handling his business. Bushenwald. Where's Bushenwald from? Is he from Wisconsin? If Bushenwald is one of those Wisconsin guards, he gets after it too. I don't remember where he goes to school at, but he gets after it. Bo Bushenwald, I think that's his name. Glad you watched it. Bo Bushenwald, I think that's his name. He's a mauler. What do you think of Bobby Evans? They're projecting him at guard, but it seems to be. I think he is too tall to go inside. He is. He plays high too. Bobby Evans plays higher than Cody Ford. But if you go look at some Oklahoma tape, Cody Ford and Bobby Evans, they pretty much stand up pre-snap. They don't put their hand in the ground. They're not even in a really 2-point stand. They're almost standing straight up. And then Cody Ford has the ability to bend and play low with leverage. Bobby doesn't have as much bend in him to play leverage. Now, I'm not saying he's not good. I think I don't think Bobby can go inside. I think he's gonna play like a good right tackle for somebody for a good 5 to 10 years. But I don't think he's better than Cody. And I don't know if you know it or not, but Oklahoma has 4 linemen in the draft. 4. And they say the best guy on that line was the center, and he was a freshman. That's crazy. Hodor. Craven. Now, this has nothing to do with football. You think Hodor gonna show up starting April 14th? Anytime after that, you think he gonna show up in Game of Thrones? Cause they'll pull rabbits out of the hat on that show. This is my favorite show on TV. Let's see what we got. What we got left? Okay. So that's pretty much most of the questions. Hold on for the throne. Lamont Gilliard. I'm not sure who that is. What school does he play for? Mark Ingram gonna help a lot. Yes, he is. A White Walking Hodor would be dangerous, just like the White Walker Dragon. I know we getting off topic, but I love Game of Thrones also. I'm sorry. The White Walker Dragon is probably the most crazy thing I've seen in the Game of Thrones. Let's go back to Gilliard. I have to look him up. I got some tape on Georgia, so I'll go back and look him up. And in fact, let me write it down before I forget, because I say that all the time and I never write it down. Lamont G-A-I Gilliard. I got it. Game of Thrones is ended with Jon stabbing Dany in the heart and his sword catching fire to become Lyra. Man, don't tell me that. Let me find out. Just let me find out, Josh. Let me find out like the rest of the world. Anthony Ratliff Williams. Let me write that one down. I have not. Who Anthony plays with? Plays for, rather. So if there's somebody you want me to check out, put it there you go. Just put the name and the team, and that way I can go easily go through it. UNC. Oh, you did tell me that before, didn't you? You told me that once before, and I haven't checked them out. But I got it wrote down now, so I don't have any excuse now. The Fighting Baby Blues. You a UNC fan? Cravens and Raven. Jon Snow isn't the last hero. Okay. I can't wait for the April 14th. I'm gonna be Zoom locked in. No, nothing. I'm in there. Phone gonna be off. Everything. I'm locked in. Nothing. No outside distractions. April 14th. And I heard the first 2 shows are under an hour, but everything else is like 80, 90 minutes. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I heard. Hey, I do like Jalen Hurd. Jalen Hurd is probably one of the most versatile guys in this draft. Jalen Hurd started out a receiver at Tennessee, I think, and then played receiver at Baylor. So Hurd's gonna be a good pickup in the later rounds for somebody, maybe even for us. What do you guys think about the receiver from West Virginia that used to be a quarterback, Seals? What do you think about Seals? Think he'd be worth picking up later on in the game? Because he's only been playing receiver for just those 3 years at West Virginia. Hurd could play running back. He could. Hurd could be that home run guy. Hurd could be the home run guy to go with all the thunder we got back there. And I don't know if you noticed about Seals, but he had a scholarship offer in the 8th grade as a quarterback. Seals had a scholarship offer in the 8th grade as a quarterback from USC. Jennings is the other receiver. Yeah, he's pretty good too. Jennings is more polished than Seals. I was just wondering what people thought about Seals, because I kind of liked him a little bit. I'm gonna give you another name out there that's pretty good at receiver. Greg Dortch. Anybody know where Greg Dortch is from? Well, if you don't know, he's from Wake Forest, and he torched Florida State. So if you get a chance to go back and watch that, Greg Dortch he's a good route runner, quick. He torched Florida State. I mean, basically did what he wanted with them. So if you get a chance to maybe, check his highlights out or check out the game on YouTube versus Florida State. And Renfro is one of my favorite guys in this draft, Marcus. And he ran a 4.5 today. Or yes, whenever their pro day was, he ran a 4.5. Hunter Renfro ran a 4.5. I'm telling you, me and Voch kind of go back and forth because he don't think Hunter Renfro is going to be drafted. I do, and I think he's going to be a productive player like Cooper Kupp. Yep, like Cooper Kupp. He'd be definitely like Cooper Kupp. Keelan Doss. Not sure. Yeah, he would disagree. He don't think much of Renfro. I'm not sure who Keelan Doss is. But just the fact that Clemson has third and Renfro or third and Hunter as a play, just that tell me what I need to know about. That means you just go run a route and get open. Just go. Look at Hunter. He going to get open some kind of way, then throw him the ball. Is that crazy? Quadri Olson's a running back that we need to look at in later rounds or as a restricted free A. What school he from? Don't just throw the name out there. Throw the school too, so I can kind of go and look at it myself. Do some research on them. Hey guys, I know y'all see the Senior Bowl pretty good. Thoughts on Earl? My thoughts on Earl. You can Marlon, not to be a smart, but if you go back and look at my last live stream, which was the welcome to Baltimore Earl Thomas and shoot, my name, I'm drawing a blank right now. Earl Thomas and Mark Ingram. That was all my thoughts about Earl are in there, and that probably was one of my favorite live streams I've done. But mostly I kind of got crunk about signing Earl Thomas. So you go back and check that out, and you love it. You love it. So this is what I want to say, guys. I have a Patreon, and there are a bunch of guys like requesting film. If you go to that Patreon, sign up for just sign up for like $1. Then you can request guys that I can do, and I can put it on Patreon and won't have to put it on YouTube because YouTube will pull it if I can't find the right view. So there are some of those smaller school guys that may have video out there that I have to use the TV version of. I can put those on Patreon, but you have to be a subscriber in order to see those things. So that's kind of how that goes. If I can't find the angles I use, the all 22 and the back view, YouTube ain't fun of that, and so they kind of knock you off the wall for that. And so I ain't fun of just putting videos out there, for nothing. But just go to Patreon. Just only sign up for $1, and I'm gonna start putting stuff over there. Like the film, I'm gonna do a film tomorrow on Danny Isabella on Patreon. He's my first Patreon video because I can't find any all 22 or cartel view. So my first Patreon video is gonna be of Danny Isabella, and just simply $1. I'm not gonna have tiers like a bunch of people. $1 will get you all access to everything I'm gonna do. So that's what that is. And I said I was gonna keep this to an hour, and we pushing an hour. So any questions you may have, my Twitter's growing across the bottom. You can, go there. If you're on IG, you can put questions in there. And if I get a bunch of questions, I may just do episodes like Ing Raven and do questions from subscribers if I get enough. And make sure you follow Ing Raven. Make sure you follow Sonny, SCG Sports. Make sure you follow Joe Nubo. Make sure you follow Voch. Voch is the Cowboys guy, draft guy. Those three guys are named prior Ravens guys. Deuce Wyndham is a Saints guy. Lieutenant Dan, unintentional grounding, is a Falcons guy. And I have a Bucks guy. I just can't remember his name right now. But I'm reaching out to more YouTubers and finding more YouTubers and follow those guys. And we're going to try to push the mainstream guys out of there because they like just giving us false information, especially Casserly and Stephen A. But that's what we here for today, man. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I appreciate the love from the super chat. Let me make sure I shout those guys out again before we get out of here. Sam Jackson, he always show love. Joshua Hoffman showed plenty of love tonight. I appreciate you guys. Shouts out for you all the time. And anything you guys need anything, just hit me up and we'll go from there. This is Coach Evans. This is Sip the Tally. This is my top 9 at 9. Matter of fact, let me run these running backs one more time for the people that didn't see it. people that was late, they can see these running backs. And then I'm going to close it out. Nine. Elijah Holyfield, running back one more time before we get out of here. Mike Weber, inside zone guy from Ohio State, inside outside zone guy. Miles Sanders got the juice, he got the circle button, he got the acceleration, he got the juke. David Montgomery has some of it all. Speed burst, spin moves, he got a little bit of all. He just solid. He's a solid back. I think he might be one of the can't miss guys. Dale Henderson, speed, 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 speed. Benny Snell, his production in the SEC for 3 years is awesome. 3,000 yards seasons in the SEC. Damian Harris, solid back also. He just shared the backfield with two other NFL running backs rather. Travion Williams, potentially the best running back in the draft, can do the same thing Damian Harris and number one can do, even with a worse off offensive line. Then you go Josh Jacobs, number one guy, can do it all. He can do it all. He can do it all. Snell is so slow he runs backwards. That's a good one. That's a good one. I like Travion, I like Anderson, I like Holyfield. Yeah, don't let that 4-8 fool you on Holyfield. I'm gonna close this out, but I'm gonna hang out in the chat box a few more seconds. So, if you got a question too, I'll answer in the chat box. Appreciate you guys. Coach Evans, Sip the Tally. I'm out.